Hosts and their guests consider the latest assaults on norms from this White House and how concerned should we be about Trump's defiance of court orders, and what are the remedies, if any.
The Democratic Party is so radicalized. Their leaders are Jasmine Crockett, AOC, and, Bernie Sanders handing off, I guess, the mantle to AOC. This is a party now that champions the rights of men to play women's sports. They put the rights of illegal immigrants and even their right to vote without voter ID, or the rights of Tren de Aragua members, as Jamie Raskin wants to bring them back from El Salvador, over the safety of the American people. A party that screams bloody murder if you find $150 billion in waste, fraud, abuse, and corruption. But it's even worse than that. Go back to the president's joint speech before Congress. I mean, you didn't have a single Democrat stand for the First Lady. Okay, they didn't stand for the president. But you can't stand for mothers whose children were murdered by unvetted illegal immigrants. You can't stand for a young man who survived cancer against all odds and became a Secret Service member that night, and he's 12 years old. You can't stand for the mother of a hero slain soldier who got killed in the line of duty, or a young man that lost his father and got a commission at West Point, and that your only resistance is holding up a paddle at, acting like you're in a bingo hall. That is the Democratic Party today.
Good morning. I'm looking for a good civil attorney because I've got tariff whiplash.
Yeah,
right?
I was going to say, we all have whiplash from,
that's what we need the civil case for.
Yeah. I mean, Carl, this is why days like this, I print out Chris does technically.
Sure.
All of Twitter and threads, and because there are so many threads to this, isn't it? Aren't there? I mean, none of it makes any sense. And people trying to, say, oh, he has some grand strategy. It is just insane, right?
I think there is a grand strategy about making people close to him very wealthy, or much wealthier.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the strategy they're letting the rest of the American people in on.
Yeah. And that's the other thing, Carl, is a lot of people have said your retirement is still gone. If the market went down 7%, goes back up 7%, your money doesn't gradually come back. Only the people that had the inside information. That's how it works. And so this thread, Mark says, if the rationale of the tariffs was bringing manufacturing back to the U.S., what's the point of a 90-day pause? This is just incoherent madness. That's all it is, right?
No, this is a president who retreats frequently and never fesses up to it because he's never wrong.
Right.
And so we will continue to go through that. I think we predicted this would happen because this is what's happened every time he's talked about tariffs since he's been back in office. Yeah. He puts them forward, he drops them. He puts them forward, he drops them. And he doesn't care that about the collateral damage that's left in the result. In fact, the message from the administration is suck it up.
Yeah.
I mean, Carl, It's so important what you do. I mean, education is so important because I literally find myself going, oh my God, read a book. Just read one book. Just read one poem. Read First They Came, right? Because Carolyn Levitt said it yesterday. Oh yes, he's now looking into deporting American citizens. First they came for the El Salvadorian blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's just all of this. Tristan Snell said last time there was this much on-again, off-again turmoil over tariffs in America, we revolted against the king over it and won. I mean, that's the good news. And I have to say, this feels like a revolution. I think a lot of people, Carl, it's not like we're the only ones going, oh my God, this is the most obvious insider trading scam ever, right?
Yeah, well, and, if Congress would get off its stuff and do its job of oversight, we'd probably learn a bit more.
Right.
Because I don't think anybody in their right mind would believe that Trump did not, mention to other people that they should buy now before going on Twitter or Truth. At the end of the day, though, this is about the economic damage that they're doing to the American people.
Well, and Congress should wrestle back their power, Carl, because this is just going to keep happening. Like, what do you think is going to happen in 90 days?
And if they continue to give up their power and their authority, this will get even worse.
Right.
We're now hearing about Republicans trying to write into the rules of Congress that they can't exercise their own authority, which is just mindless.
Can I just say, it's so interesting. Your family's former party and mine, the GOP, Lincoln Project, made up of all, former GOPs. I just thought they nailed it. Trump created an environment of instability where it's impossible to make long-term plans. Whether you're a company, investor, or anyone working to put food on the table, the GOP only promises you more of this. If you want stability, you have to vote for it by voting them out. I mean, and they identify it's the whole party that's propping this up and, pretending that the naked emperor is also a genius, right?
Yeah, and the only people who are benefiting from this are perhaps the health benefits of the mental gymnastics that Trump's most loyal supporters are having to go through to explain all of this. Right. Telling us that he's playing three-dimensional chess. Okay, right. Sure.
Yeah. I love this one. EK, this is abuse, flat out. The President of the United States is committing constant, unrelenting emotional and psychological abuse en masse. I mean, someone else said, I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship with the United States. This really is just like psychological torture every day, not knowing what he's going to do next.
Well, and it's not just that, right? It's not just the things that are receiving all of this attention, right? Talk to people who have to contact their Social Security office or their Medicare office, or who are trying to get in touch with the people in charge of student loans in the FAFSA office. They're not only hurting people's economic well-being, but they're also undermining the institutions that support the American people, making it much more difficult for people to get what they need from the government.
Carl, to your point, there's a huge story in our LA Times yesterday. It's a shambles. Doge cuts bring chaos and long waits at Social Security for seniors. I mean, all of this chaos is happening simultaneously, but they write, when Veronica Sanchez called the Social Security hotline Thursday, she waited 2 hours before her call was abruptly disconnected. Friday, she was on hold for 6 hours and still didn't get through to anyone. I'm trying to imagine my mom having to do this at 80-something, 90-something, you name it, right? I'm going to have to take time out of my work to stand in line and hopefully get this resolved, she said. For Sanchez, the stakes are high. If she doesn't obtain a medical letter from the agency by April 15th, her parents, who are on a fixed income, risk losing $2,500 a month in medical care. They would no longer receive insulin medication for their diabetes, she said, could lose their daily visit from a nurse. Even if Sanchez shows up in person, she's not likely to speak to an agent. Field offices are no longer accepting walk-in appointments. The system, it's broken down, she said. Elderly and disabled people and those who care for them are encountering a knot of bureaucratic hurdles and service disruptions after the Trump administration imposed a sweeping overhaul of the Social Security Administration, as many seniors experience crashed web pages, endure jammed phone lines, and are turned away at offices. I mean, it's not just one. We're focused right now on the worldwide financial chaos. There's chaos everywhere, right? I mean, they want to blow up the Department of Education.
Being left on hold is a good analogy for what's happening here.
Exactly.
And being disconnected when you finally think that you're getting through to somebody. That is what we are devolving into. That is what seniors are experiencing now with Medicare and Social Security. It's what students are experiencing with their student loans and obviously graduates as well. So this is by design, right? They want to break things so that people will have no problem handing it over to a private company.